There is an upcoming rally in British Columbia, in Victoria, British Columbia, at the BC Legislature on Thursday, May 29th at 1 o'clock p.m. And joining me will be Jeff and Sonia and so many others, MLAs, media. Yeah, and we're going to have DJ Chill. Stay tuned for the details coming up next. Hello, thanks for tuning in to PWD Allies podcast. My name is Brent Frayne, I'm the host, and I'm going to announce a special rally that's coming up in Victoria, British Columbia at the BC Legislature on Thursday, May 29th at 1 o'clock p.m. And to talk more about that rally, I'm going to announce Jeff Leggat from Disability Action of Canada, who's joining me today and is going to be providing you with all the details. So I'm going to hand the mic over to you, Jeff, and let her rip.
Hi, Brent. Hi, Neil. How are you?
Good.
Good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm doing good. Yeah, we have a good event coming up this Thursday at the BC Legislature on the steps of at 1 o'clock. We are doing a Raise the Rates PWD Rally and DJ Chill. We have sent out invitations to all 93 MLAs. We've sent out invitations for speakers, and we've got confirmed the BC Greens will be speaking, Rob or Jeremy or both. I'm waiting on a final on that one. We have Christine Lowen, the Shadow Minister for Poverty Reduction and Social Development. She's the BC Conservatives Party critic minister or shadow minister for that department.
Yeah.
She's confirmed to speak as well, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the Minister of Social Development and Poverty Reduction, Sheila Malcolmson, has agreed to come down and get in a few words about what her department is doing and be receptive to our hope that we get an immediate increase, or not our demands, our yells and stuff about requesting an immediate increase, or at least ending the government-imposed poverty of disabled in BC. If we look at it right now, you're getting a PWD, person on disability, who has shelter, is getting about $14.85, $14.83, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And then you have a bus pass, or then you have an option for $50 for gas.
Yeah.
So I get $15.35, I believe, each month. Now, there's two official poverty levels in Canada, which is always fun. There's the MBM, market basket measure, which is the lower of the two, and then there's LICO, low income cutoff, which is the higher of the two official poverty levels, and they're used for two different things. The MBM is used for it's Canadian residents, and it's used for really signifying what the poverty level is in rural areas, in population areas, and different areas all across Canada, and it's got different levels depending on where you live. And then the LICO is the kind of a more static and stable poverty level, which is used for new Canadians. It's used when people are coming into our country. And it's used as the minimum level of support needed for our new Canadians, whether that be sponsored or immigrants or what have you. And it's literally higher. So I don't understand how the difference. I don't get the difference, but that's a whole different topic. So a market basket measure is just over $2,000 right now. I think it was $2,044, and the LICO was $2,400 something. So we're looking at a significant difference.
Yeah.
The federal government chose MBM as the poverty level for disabled Canadians.
Of course.
They choose the LICO for new Canadians and MBM for disabled. So the provincial government decided to do the same thing. And they have a choice. They can use whichever one they want. So in their eyes, the poverty level's just over $2,000 a month. So we're still $500 a month behind the official poverty level of Canada here in BC.
It's interesting that the government chooses to use. I mean, it's not surprising that it's the lower amount, but as you said, Jeff, there's the two amounts, and one is for refugees, and it's funny that you know that we that live here as Canadians are somehow thought of as way less than, like, let's give you the kind of the bottom of the barrel total, or
I know it's crazy in my mind, and no wonder there's some sort of backlash against immigration, refugees, that kind of stuff, when the government's giving them more when they first come to Canada than treating their own citizens. But again, as I said, that's a different kind of topic. I don't want to get into that.
I know exactly.
Can of worms. But the point is, we're still about $500 below the lower of the two, and we're almost $900 a month lower than the more acceptable LICO, low income cutoff. The more that's the one that makes more sense in today's market. With rent,
for sure.
Food, and the cost of just the basic needs. The LICO is the more tenable one to use, right?
And that's not even like, I mean, that's the bare minimum. Of course, for persons with disabilities, I mean, their expenses are even higher than that minimum amount. So I mean, there's provinces in Canada where their rates are way below the standard where it should be even at. And I mean, there's Alberta where their rates are, I think, 1901. BC's at 1483. Ontario, I believe, is at 1368. And their rates are tied to inflation in Ontario, but BC's not.
For those that don't know, in Canada, each province has its own ministry for persons with disabilities. Each province makes up its own rules, and structure, and requirements to support people with disabilities. So there's not one single level of disability income support across all the provinces and territories. It's different in every single one. So it's kind of like a divide and conquer, keep the poor poor, keep the disabled oppressed, because
and sorry, Brent. Sorry, Jeff. I mean,
No worries.
There's two of you on the podcast, and I'm confused now. No, I wanted to say that you're kind of highlighting a hodgepodge of between all the provinces, but I wanted to highlight too that it's a hodgepodge within each province as well. We've had Sheila Malcolmson on the podcast before. I think wasn't she on? Was it the first year or was it the second year? I forget now.
Second year.
I think it was the second year, right? And we had to be careful. Like we had to be nicer, so we couldn't ask like pointed questions. But I tell you, the one really big pointed question that I would love to ask her, and I would love to get a legitimate response from her, is why is the provincial government's attack on PWD assistance, why is it so hodgepodge? Like, and what I mean by that is, like we always say, Brent, it's like the disabled versus the disabled. Like
pinning each other against
you get your rent subsidy and you don't. You get a clawback and you don't. You get this and you don't. Like, there's so many layers and stratifications within the BC the assistance system, and it's so perverse. All the different layers and stratifications, and like you have to jump over this whole hoop, and then you get this money, and you don't. You get this money, and you. I mean, it's just crazy.
So a lot of red tape.
Not only is there differences between provinces, but even within the province, it's just all messed up. Yeah.
Yes, it's red policy. And just give me those big scissors. I'll cut that red tape. Yeah.
The one thing, if for those watching that don't know, if you have shelter in BC, you're given an extra $500 on your monthly. You're given $500 for that shelter within your check.
Mhm.
If you don't have shelter, you don't get that 500, so you're getting $900 a month or whatever the figure works out to,
Yeah.
893 or whatever. If you get the Canadian Disability Benefit, you'll get an extra $200 compared to those that don't have the Canadian Disability Benefit. That comes from the federal up to 200. I don't even know what that amount is yet because they don't know what that amount is yet. So there's all these different levels of, if you're disabled, you're not all just getting poverty level, or you're not all just getting, close to poverty level.
Yeah.
You're getting all these different factions of what you qualify for.
Yeah.
And on top of that, if you get the maximum amount or whatever you get, if you need to get some more clothes or you run out of food before the end of the month, you can fill out another form and get a supplement if you're approved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a new jacket and boots this year. I didn't even know this thing existed for the last 6 years. And I was able to get money towards a jacket and boots because we're going out to Ottawa and it was minus 50. Sorry. So, I mean, there's all these different regulations. And that's what the Conservatives, John Rustad and myself, had a conversation a few months ago about this red tape, and money is going towards the administrative level of the Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction. So it's going into the pockets of, it's like a make work thing, going into the pockets of all these wonderful federal or provincial employees. No disrespect for them, their jobs are difficult, it's ridiculous, and they have to put up with all these ridiculous forms and qualifications for getting this piddly amount of money here and there and everywhere. Whereas we're saying, and that's the point that Christina's going to make when she's on speaking on Thursday, is why are we not just cut out all this and get one single total and give it to everybody across the board, and that way there's no discrimination, there's no pitting one against the other, and we're treating everybody like a human being with dignity.
Well, yeah, exactly, Jeff. I mean, you put all the money, the resources, all into a pool. If you need that supplement for whatever it is, it's there. Like you don't all the different conditions to meet that. If you need a vitamin supplement or a mineral supplement, you need all these other conditions in order to meet all those criterias. I say just put it all in there. If you need it, great. If you don't need it, well, now you can use it for food or transportation, whatever you may need it for. It cuts all that red tape out. I remember once upon a time, and I'll quickly mention it. I remember my family physician had said, well, why don't you apply for this and this and this and this? And I said, well, I don't have all those conditions. He goes, no, you don't, Brent. And he goes, why are you kind of telling me that? I go, because the ministry's office told me to tell you that. And he's like, well, that's kind of weird. Like, if why don't they just put all the money into a check? Then if you need those things, then you can just go in and utilize it automatically. I mean, that was back then. I mean, and of course, put the clock fast forward, and here we are with all the red tape and bureaucracy.
Bottom line, if I might pop in here, if you give a person poverty level financial support each month, and they require additional as a person with disability for whatever your abilities may be, or however you can apply on top of that for supplements because your disability causes you extra expenses each month, God bless. But if we give everybody poverty level financial support, and don't tell me we can't afford it, that's the biggest scam any province, government, federal government has to say. If anybody says we can't afford it, even the $18 billion a year that would take the federal government to lift all the disabled Canadians up and up to poverty level, the $18 billion a year, 10 to 18 billion is the earmark for that. We have it.
Exactly.
I can guarantee there's no question in my mind that the federal government has it. And when the federal government is able to allow $32 billion a year in lost taxes, because they don't even care about these tax loopholes. They don't care enough about them. They let the corporations get away with not paying up to $32 billion a year. We have enough money in this country to end legislated poverty of disabled Canadians. We have enough money to end the poverty altogether. The 5.2 million people living in poverty. Those include the elderly, low-income seniors, the veterans, the single mothers, the people that are unemployed between jobs. So it's just a matter of what our priorities are.
Yeah, there's so many of those supplement services that are out there. Like there's GIS for seniors, OAS, the GST. I mean, all those tax credits that are out there. EI. I mean, like you mentioned, Jeff, and you put it all into one.
Yeah.
That it solves all the red tape too, and having to apply for all these things that people need. Because like when the Canada Disability Benefit, I'll just briefly touch on that.
Yeah.
The Canada Disability Benefit, there's been a lot of outcry from doctors across Canada saying all the bureaucracy when it comes to all the red tape and all the fees, their time, they don't have time to fill out all this paperwork. And their view was that it should automatically go to people on provincial benefits or territorial benefits. Automatically, your PWD in that province or territory, you are already qualified. You should automatically get that money from federal. It be transfer. CRA already has everybody's information, so they know who gets what. And if they didn't know, all they have to do is contact the treasury of each province and say who's on PWD.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Here's the thing too. They do that because they're padding their own pockets. They are justifying their departments while we do the Ministry of Poverty Reduction, Social Development. Well, we're going to make all these controls and all these structures so no one steals a dime from us. Meanwhile, most of the money is going into their own pockets.
Yeah, and it puts less strain on the healthcare system big time. I mean, it eliminates poverty in so many ways. I mean, DJ Chill. I'm looking forward to DJ Chill. And
it's DJ Allgood, but it's his name is DJ Allgood. But I wanted to say instead of a rave in the afternoon, let's have a chill. Let's have a chill afternoon.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big fan of sign waving and chanting and angry protests. We've had enough of that in Canada for the last 5-10 years. Ugh. So let's get into that positive way. And when we have the politicians come out to speak, I invite the people that are there, people online, to make their truth known in a respectful manner. The thing that I've found over the last couple of years, Brent, with you and with Sonia going and dealing with the politicians, we get a lot further by being respectful and really and truthful and honest without being angry or without being emotions of negativity.
So basically, don't do what I did.
Sheila's going to come out and she's going to go over everything that she's done in the background with the ministry and all that kind of stuff, and she's going to go over her plan and stuff like that, and that's fine. Wonderful. She does a lot of stuff behind the scenes in restructuring and that kind of stuff, and I recognize that. We all recognize that. But the bottom line is we need to also make an impact on the front lines. We need to put money in pockets, whether that's $300 a month now, whether that's $500 a month now, and just get up to MBM on monthly disability income support. That's what we're asking for. That's what we're asking for. We haven't even gone into the partner status stuff about if you're married or living in a relationship and all that clawbacks. We haven't gone into the dignity and disrespect of having someone with no shelter getting even less. We haven't gone into that. There's a lot of stuff that has to be redone in this department. We just want to make sure people can eat. People can live. And people aren't living in survival mode. Constant survival mode.
One of the things that, again, Jeff, if I had Sheila Malcolmson in front of me right now, for me, it's about like you used the word a little while ago. You used the word justification, that the government's trying to justify their position and their programs. And I think people know that I used to work for Sam Sullivan's foundation, the Disability Foundation. He was the ex-MLA, BC Liberal. He's a great guy, but so his disability foundation, sometimes they got government money for programs, and that's fine. That's great. I helped work for that foundation, and there was like 5 or 6 years where the program was funded by the provincial government to help people with disabilities find employment. And I was on the front lines, like cheering people on, and that's all good. But what I was going to say, I'm going to circle around to my point is, because just the other day, Sheila Malcolmson had another big splashy announcement that we're giving like all this more money to the Disability Alliance. And again, like I'm not gonna throw Disability Alliance under the bus, because they're great. So it's not about me throwing anybody under the bus. I'm not gonna throw Sheila Malcolmson under the bus. My point though is like what was it, like 1 or 2 weeks ago? She said that the government's broke, has no money.
Right.
But yet they have money to give out to the Disability Alliance, which again, I'm not bitter, but I guess the thing that bothers me is they'll do these programs, and you know what, Brent, and you know what, Jeff, is that they're funding these programs basically by clawing back my pension and the pensions of thousands of other people on PWD. Yeah. That is what's funding all these other programs. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds like I'm being bitter, but I'm not really, because like I said, the Disability Foundation is great. They got money from the government. Disability Alliance is great. So I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. It just bugs me that we had Sheila Malcolmson 2 weeks ago on public record saying the government's broke, and here she is throwing more money at the Disability Alliance, but still clawing back my pension. And it's been almost 12 years, and that is what's supporting all these programs, all this money that they're sending out to, whether it be the Disability Alliance or the Disability Foundation or whatever else. Like, they're supporting it by clawing back money from people, and it's anyway. Yeah.
You make a good point on that, Neil. Like suppressing down income for PWD and BC versus some of the advocacy groups that are getting the funding to basically say, well, this is what we're doing. We want to help the people. Well, I always say, give the money to the people so they know better what to do with that money in the community that they live in, where they can prosper and have dignity and respect, and they basically make those decisions for themselves. I mean, yeah, you're right. There's nothing wrong with those organizations, for sure. I think that it's prioritizing. Government needs to prioritize where the money goes, and we're going to help them with that.
You can. Sorry. I just want to finish my point. Is like, you can still give the money to Disability Alliance. Like I said, I'm not bitter about that, because like I said, they're great. I'm just saying, like, don't hand out money at the expense of everything else. Like, at the expense of widows and widowers, you're going to say, well, we're gonna kind of screw over the widows and widowers, for the benefit of disability, the Disability Alliance. And somewhere
along the way in government, over the last many decades, government has gone from being an instrument of the people to help in many ways to being an instrument of themselves for self-glorification. So they like to glorify what we were doing. This includes the signs on highways saying we spent this amount on on your amount of your taxpayer dollars doing this. I don't need a sign. We don't need a sign. Just do the work. That includes making all these qualifications to get money, so they can say to themselves, well, we're protecting your money, but it's costing more than it is if we were just to give everybody an equal amount in order to lift them out of poverty. So that's the main thing. It's self-glorification, it's justification for their own existence, and it is it's beyond ridiculous nowadays. Don't tell me what you're doing or glorify what you're doing. Do the right thing. Spend the money wisely. Don't have offices all over the province sucking so much of that money into its own existence that very little is left over for the people that need it.
Yeah,
it's the administration costs that are costing more. And good point on that, Jeff. It's like saying, well, look what we're doing, but what is costing that for them to do more? It's all the administration costs embedded in, and committees upon committees come on committees. And well, you're going to be doing this and this, and for what? How about get rid of all the red tape and then just give the people the money?
Exactly.
And I always say that you have a dignified life. I mean, no fault to PWD. I mean, we are citizens. We are residents, but we are citizens of Canada, and we need to be treated with respect and dignity and autonomy, and making those decisions for ourselves that we feel is best for our needs. I mean, because at the end of the day, I mean, like I say earlier in the podcast, I mean, it puts less strain on our healthcare system. It puts really reduces down poverty. Because once a person is homeless, I mean, it is very difficult to find housing. Where now, like you mentioned earlier, Jeff, they take away the shelter. So now you go to a landlord and you say, "Well, I've got this, but if you give me a place to rent, I'll get an extra $500." But they'll say, "What?" So now they question if that all the government's going to give you. So now it actually opens up a whole Pandora's box, because it's well, what are you going to live on, rather than raise the rates up to a standard level, and then build and then tie it to inflation, cost of living adjustment, and then build from that point on. And we're going to teach the government that step by step, this is how you do it. Yeah, exactly.
Just for those out there that don't know, we were talking about this earlier before we came on. The rent in 1980 was $500.
Oh, crazy
for an average a unit or a place to live. Not a bedroom, but an actual one bedroom or whatever, a whole apartment. So the government that raised the rates from $375 for the shelter portion up to $500 over the last 3 years ago they did that or something.
2 years ago.
And they were so proud and so glorify self-glorification. Now this is what we're doing, and blah blah blah. They provided 45-year-old shelter costs. Shelter costs, which are equivalent to 45 years ago. What? There's no way, nowhere in this province where you can get an apartment for $500 a month. And if it is, you don't want to be living there. I can tell you that much. So that's just an odd thing to think about now.
Yeah, in there was an article. I'm gonna pull it up in front of me here, and I'll just read out to you the headline here. So anyone that follows Czech news in Victoria, they actually have an article out. Where is it here? Hang on there. Just give me 1 second. Bear with me for 1 second.
I just wanted to acknowledge that we have lots of people in chat right now. One of them being Investigative Research Council. He's making a lot of really good points, and I just wanted to shout out those that are in chat. Peter Cunnington's in chat. We have Wally in chat. We have Inga in chat. Everybody's making really good points. Earlier in Investigative Research Council, when I was saying I didn't want to be bitter about my clawback, he says it's okay, be bitter, Neil. That was one of his comments. So
well, you have every right, Neil, to and I'm not going to speak for you, Neil, but I mean, you have every right to be upset because it's been government neglect, right? It's all red tape and it's all bureaucracy. Anyway, for our listeners and our viewers, I pulled up, I did find it here. It's from Island Rewind. It's from Czech News, and thank you, Czech News, for posting that out. So I'm going to read this out. It's called Island Rewind, and it says, we're going back to 1982 when Victoria, British Columbia, had a rental vacancy rate of 1.2%. Landlords were offered money. Landlords were offering money to people to rent their places, and in some cases, free meals. I mean, they'll take you out for dinner. And back then, the rents were starting at 500 plus in 1982.
Yeah.
So for people on disability assistance, which used to be a pension back until 1994 in BC, the government changed it at that time. So it used to be a pension, now it's income means tested. So back in 1982, wow, imagine that, $500 plus for rent. It classified ads, like six or seven pages. I remember that because when I did a paper route, and I used to look through, I don't know why, but for some reason, I'd be looking at bicycle parts, and then I'd see rentals. Well, what are rentals? Well, places for rent. And I'd see these ads up there, and it matches exactly the price that they're actually saying now. Yeah. But here, fast forward to our PWD rates in BC. So a little bit of history lesson for people to kind of research. So when the government of the day was in power, shelter rates way back when in 2007, or up to 2007, it was at $375 for rent for PWD in BC. It was frozen until 2023 when another administration took over in 2017, but it took until 2023 to actually unfreeze that $375 rate up to $500 for a person with disabilities paying market rent. And that was in 2023. Now we're in 2025. That shelter rate is still at $500. So if you look at 1982 versus 2025, like you said, Jeff, wow.
We could have lived comfortably back in, we're getting the money to live comfortably back in 1982.
If I had a time machine, I'd go back in time because the buying power was actually much greater. As time goes on, the amount erodes away your buying power. So now what you could actually buy back then, what you buy now is way different.
Exactly.
I mean, you give somebody $100, they could probably buy maybe $30 worth of the same goods that you could have bought back then.
Exactly. Just I got an email. This is we're talking from the BC Greens. MLA Rob Botterell will be speaking for the BC Greens. He'll be the first speaker up on deck on Thursday. Okay. Then it'll be Christina Lowen, BC Conservatives, to talk about the administrative costs and slimming down that and getting money into the hands of the disabled in BC rather than into the pockets of the administrative costs. And then it'll be Sheila Malcolmson. So that'll be our lineup. I did hire ASL interpreter, and we will be doing we'll be doing a Zoom. We'll be doing a Zoom meeting, so we'll be recording it and then we'll be editing it and sending it out afterwards. We've invited a lot of media. I'm getting a great big cake that says "Let them eat cake" because we got to have some fun with this, and it's getting ridiculous. No one wants to listen, so let's have a cake and some bottled water and a DJ. And let's kill them with love and kill them with kindness until they realize that, hey, we can't treat people so disrespectfully in this province anymore. It's not acceptable.
Well, I do have to give kudos again to Sheila Malcolmson, because it takes a lot of guts for a sitting minister to come out and and say, like, I support. I stand in support and in solidarity or whatever, whatever. I mean, before we went to air, you used the term that Sheila's going to come out and do her rebuttal. You used the term rebuttal, and I thought that was kind of humorous. But I mean, even so, like, she does deserve credit for coming out all the more, So
yes. And I gotta give a shout out to Mary Jean also for doing all her work in the background, and commenting on Brenda Bailey's post, commenting on Sheila Malcolmson's post, and keeping the fire in the fight going. For those who don't think that we're being aggressive enough. We are, but we're just doing it in a different manner. So that's why I'm saying that we talk and we have an open dialogue with Sheila Malcolmson and that ministry, and that's how we're trying to keep it. So we're able to put pressure through the press, put pressure through our rallies. Please come on out to the rallies. Please show some dignity and respect for yourselves and for the speakers, and just be honest in the truth of what is needed nowadays, because we can't stay in government-imposed legislative poverty any longer. And I got to give a shout out to Rob Botterell for bringing this up in the question period. He talked about legislative poverty and how it's unacceptable anymore. And I got to give him a shout out. Oh, and just FYI, we will be in question period on Wednesday.
Yes.
Brent and Sonia and myself were been invited from the BC Conservative Party to sit up in question period and get a little announcement up there from Christina herself and on the work that we're doing, and to highlight the rally itself on Thursday. So we are being taken seriously. We're being brought in and talking to the people we need to talk to. And we invite you to come out and to have some cake, have some bottled water, chill, bring a picnic blanket and just chill. The DJ is amazing, DJ Allgood, on Thursday afternoon. And yeah, come on out.
Have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, have your cake and eat it too. I love that. Yeah, yeah. Let them eat cake. Yeah.
Let them eat cake.
Yeah. And it's going to be a great gathering. I'm looking forward to it. If you're not able to attend the rally, like Jeff and Neil have mentioned, it is going to be rebroadcasted on, and you can actually follow along, send in your comments on that. Yeah, but if you are local, or if you are in the Lower Mainland and you can make it over on Thursday, May 29th, the rally starts at BC Legislature at 1:00 p.m. So yeah, we look forward to having everyone come in and basically let the media know, let the government know, and let us know what do you want to see changed for PWD designation in BC. How does it affect your life?
I'll try to post some of the rally. Like you said, Jeff, you'll cut down the video.
Yes.
The broadcast, and then I'll see what I can do to cut it down and post it on the channel here as well. Yeah. Got
it. One of the fun things is we're going to be doing the postcard campaign and legislative government post-poverty of disabled in 2024. Well, that didn't happen, so we'll keep it. We got a whole bunch of these postcards to the Premier's office. Come on out, sign your name, just your name and the city in which you live. Let's get a whole bunch, Santa Claus bag full of these postcards to David Eby's office, to Sheila Malcolmson's office, to let them know that we need to shift our priorities and make sure that all the least among us is taken care of at a respectable level, poverty level. It's not like we're asking. It's not like disabled people are asking for Mercedes and mansions. They're asking for enough food to last more than 21 days, the last 30 days. Yeah. Shelter to not be a threat to one's safety. Anything like that, not go without.
Mm-hmm. Well, especially when there's like 2 5-week months in a row.
Yes.
Yeah, and that really, it causes a lot of problems for people, because then how do they budget? When the rates are so suppressed down, and the cost of living, cost of food. I mean, food inflation is up 3.8%. Which is really high. Even the economists are saying that food prices are up, and
they're going up even more this year. They're projected to go crazy over the summertime, so that's not good.
Well, no. And the biggest piece that's the real danger is rents, housing prices, because what that doesn't get really talked about enough. I mean, we talk about it a lot, but even so, it still doesn't get talked about enough, is the fact that 25% of people on PWD maybe, because it might be less. Because I think maybe the 25% is actually including all of welfare, and if it's including all of welfare, then the number would be less. But what I was going to say is, according to government numbers, they're saying 25% of people on PWD roughly get subsidized housing, which means 75 don't. 75% don't, and that's a huge number. So
it is huge.
So for government to say that, okay, we're helping out 25% and the rest 75%, oh, we're not going to worry about that. I mean, that's huge, because it maybe didn't matter as much like we were saying back in 1982 when the rents actually were $500.
Yes.
But when the rents now are $2,500 or like $2,000 or $2,500, and you only have $500 for rent, that's not nearly enough, right?
Exactly.
Right?
Your statistics are good, Neil. It's 74% of PWD do not have access.
Which is a huge amount.
And when we say do not have access to subsidized housing, we don't mean they're denied. There just isn't enough subsidized housing to get them into subsidized housing.
Right.
100% of persons with disabilities making $1,535 a month were in subsidized housing, paying $500 a month for their one-bedroom units or whatever it is, and they had the extra $1,000 a month to spend on food and supplies. We'd be much better off. It would be so much easier. You wouldn't be in such a survival mode. You wouldn't be lined up with the food banks. You wouldn't be going without every single day, and you'd be able to participate in society. And that's the big thing here. We are looking for the government to recognize that we can't participate in society when we don't have money, when we're living in oppressive government-imposed poverty. And every single day of your life is depressing because you have nothing.
Exactly, Jeff. And another good point I want to kind of add on to regarding housing. What's really embarrassing, to the government, the government should really look at it as an embarrassing situation where you get a corporate manager who then starts questioning the government, saying, why didn't you raise the rates? Like for 2 years in a row, like you stopped the shelter, increasing it after so many, well over a decade. Then it finally increased, and then you didn't give a rent increase, because then they say, well, we gave you a rent increase. Why didn't they offset that cost? Like how are you going to pay for that? Like where are you going to have to cut back on? Like that is a good question.
Exactly.
So I'd say raise the rates already. Like
raise the rates. That's the key. So that's the goal for this Thursday's rally is raise the rates.
Let's keep it simple. Let's keep it simple.
Whether it be $500, well, I don't care what it is. If you say the government's broke, then come up with a different solution. Let's sit down and come up with a different solution. Let's get all the millionaires in BC to get a tax credit, and they subsidize a person with disability. Each millionaire in BC subsidizes a person with disability $500 a month. And over that whole year, the $6,000 they spend on a disabled person, they get a really good tax credit. Let's get creative.
Yeah, there we are.
Let's get people in community looking after people in community. We don't have to keep this old idea that all we're focused on is economy and the poor deserve it, and people with disabilities are drug users and they don't deserve anything in life, and that kind of stuff. That's antiquated thoughts. Let's be better. Let's be better.
Let's hear your best. Show me the money, Jeff.
Oh yeah.
Show me the money.
There you go, Brent. You can do that.
Show me the money.
Nice. Good. I got to get going, man. Is that okay? We're good. We'll see everybody on Thursday.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Okay. Thank you so much, Neil and Brent. That's awesome. I wish you a beautiful day. Brent, I'll see you on Wednesday, actually.
You'll see me and Sonia on Wednesday at the
Wednesday.
BC Legislature. Yes.
And Thursday. Everybody else, we look forward to seeing you. I'm going to be posting the Zoom link out across all the social media platforms this week. If you encourage your MLA you want to send a little note or give them a call and say, come on down. I sent each one of them, all 93 of them, a personal invitation today. So come on out and show support. Let's get behind persons with disabilities and ending government-imposed poverty.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Jeff, for coming on and talking about the upcoming rally at the BC Legislature in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia on Thursday, almost said Wednesday, Thursday, May 29th at 1 o'clock. Be there or be square. I always say sunshine will come down and brighten your day in many ways. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, Jeff.
Take care, and please subscribe, like, and share the content that you're viewing today. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast.
And show us the money, too. Show us the money.
Buy us a coffee.
Buy us a coffee, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in today. Take care.
Thanks.